based down in West Cornwall, and it was born out of my two passions, ecology and cooking. I teach people how to forage for wild food, how to cook it, and we all feast together. So we've got some marsh samphire here, picking in a secret spot, I'm not going to say. This is what we're going to have. This is what people call sea asparagus or poor man's asparagus. It's very salty, it's a real delicacy. If anyone's eaten samphire in a restaurant, they will have had this marsh samphire. There are two kinds of samphire, marsh samphire and rock samphire. But this is the one that's commonly served steamed with fish. And you put it between your teeth and pull it between your teeth. And then you're left with a woody core at the end. This is sea purslane. This is a really common, typical estuary plant. It's got a very distinctive colour. It's very sort of grey-green, and you'll find it in every salt marsh and estuary in Cornwall. Best time of year to pick it is round now, spring and summer, when the leaves are nice and young and succulent, but you can actually pick it all year round. It's a really nice, crisp, sort of crunchy leaf. So you can either have it raw or lightly steamed. So we're going to serve it with the new potatoes, but I'm also going to pickle some as well. It makes a really good pickle. Okay, here we have some rock samphire. Now, some people often muddle this up with the marsh samphire. They're actually two completely unrelated species. If you see them alongside each other, they do look quite different. So superficially, they have these sort of fingers, but actually in terms of their taste, texture and flavour, they're completely different. This is salty and fleshy, and this has quite a carroty sort of flavour. It's very strong. This is actually a member of the carrot family. They grow in completely different habitats. You get marsh samphire always with its feet wet, growing in the estuary mud. Rock samphire never gets its feet wet, and it always grows above the beach on top of the rocks. And what we're going to do with this is fritter it. It makes fantastic fritter. If you dip it in buttermilk and seasoned gram flour, deep fry it, it's absolutely delicious. So we're going to have that alongside our steamed marsh samphire. So we'll have the two samphires on the same plate. Okay, we're back home now, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with some of these ingredients that we picked. Now, salsa verde or green sauce is a really punchy sauce that you use often with oily fish or with meats, and you want some really strong greens in there. So rock samphire has a really strong taste, so that's going to be one ingredient. I'm going to use some black mustard that grows on the sides of roads and on waste ground, basically. It's a coloniser of disturbed ground, so that's got a really punchy, strong taste. And then I'm going to use wild chervil or cow parsley. Everyone knows what cow parsley is. However, it's quite hard to identify it, to be happy that you haven't got one of the deadly poisonous umbellifers, so only pick it if you know what you're picking. Okay, so I'm going to use a couple of cloves of garlic, and I'm going to chop it finely, and I'm going to chop it up with the greens. Okay, so I'm going to use a couple of anchovies. There we are, and some capers. I want a really good like tablespoon of capers, I think. You can use other ingredients, wild ingredients, instead of anchovies and capers. Anchovies are actually quite rare now, so you could use salted Cornish pilchards, and instead of capers you could pickle three-cornered leek buds, which we sometimes do in the spring. Okay, so I'm going to add the other ingredients now. Dijon mustard, put it all together. Red wine vinegar. You can have a salsa verde as runny or as thick as you like, it's personal preference really. And some olive oil. Okay, and I'm going to season it with salt and pepper. So that's done now. Voila! So one of my favourite things to do with rock samphire is to fritter it, and today we're going to put it into buttermilk. I'm just going to dip it into the buttermilk and then straight away into seasoned gram flour, get it completely coated all over, and then into the hot oil. And it literally only takes about 10 seconds. Okay, so here's the fritter. It has this sort of Indian kind of pakora-y sort of taste to it with the gram flour. Absolutely delicious. I'm just preparing the mackerel. I'm just going to season it with salt and pepper. So we have here rock samphire fritters, marsh samphire, blanched for a minute in salted boiling water. We've got the sea purslane with the new potatoes here. Sea purslane was also blanched for probably 30 seconds. And then a whole array of wild greens in the salsa verde and the mackerel. So Ella. These greens are very, very good for you. But there's nutrients in these greens that you'll never find in farmed vegetables.
It's not small.